Hi, again, and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. We are on episode 54 this week.
Or Key in the Door, 54. Or Holcomb 4, 54.
You done?
Yep.
Yep, we're talking about London, so stick around if you want to hear more. So, hello again.
Hello there.
Hello over there.
Hello.
You're all the way over there.
I am.
I'm over here.
Yeah, I know you are. I can see you.
Who are you over there?
Oh, I'm just...
Are you Steve?
yeah, no, I'm David. I don't know why I said...
What were you starting to say?
I don't know.
I'm
It
stuck.
just went a bit wrong. Yeah, I'm
It
stuck.
felt like you were trying to make a hint to people that you've been trapped in this room for a week.
No, no. I'm fine. I'm free to go to and fro from this room as I please.
Not now, though.
Not at the moment, no.
No.
But my name's David. What's your name?
My name's Connor. What's your name?
It's still David.
All right. And what
Okay.
do you also go by?
Dad, yes.
Yeah, I call you Dad sometimes.
Oh, you do call me Dad
You're the
sometimes.
father of Father and Sundays.
I am. I think we've established this.
And I'm the son of Father and Sundays.
You are,
and this is
indeed.
Father and Sundays.
Yes, well
The
done.
unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. But you're also a son.
I
Just to
am.
clarify to everyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am, yes.
I'm glad we got that cleared up. How's your
Good.
week been?
Oh, not great.
No?
No, a bit stressful
Right.
because
There's a cat at the door.
there seems to be as well. It's getting even more stressful. Yeah, with that cat. Work's been a bit plop. They changed everything and I went in this week and it's very difficult to know what the hell's going on. But, you know, I've tried to embrace that as the
Yeah.
week's gone on and tried
We've
to...
both had
yeah.
a very much changing week
Yes.
when it comes to work. I mean, I didn't know this week was going to change at all, and then all of a sudden I'm in a different office by the end of it.
Yeah,
But
it's been quite a bit of a shock, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
But not as much of a shock as obviously we've had a bit of a toilet seat problem this week as well, haven't we?
yeah,
Because the toilet seat upstairs sort of broke when I went in there in the middle
sort
of
of
the night.
broke. It broke.
I lifted the lid and it came off in my hand. The lid, that is. And since then,
There's a
there's
story
been some
behind that.
bizarre-
I was sitting on it and it clicked, and I
Yeah.
didn't really think of any at the time. But
Well, it did result in me coming home from work midweek and my wife, your mother, saying those words.
the mother of Father and
that
Sundays.
all husbands want to hear, you know. Would you like to come for a ride with me while we take the toilet seat to try and match it to another toilet seat? And I found myself in the car with your mother and our toilet seat, which she'd cleaned in
Yeah,
a
luckily
plastic
she'd cleaned.
bag, and going around some shops trying to find a match for it. And the immortal lines that one of the guys in the shop said, "Have you got a picture of your toilet on your phone?" Yeah, I've got a couple of pictures of me with it.
I've got it as
then
my screensaver.
me and my son with it, and then there's the family with it, and then we've done other bits and
to be
pieces.
fair, I've been through a lot with that toilet.
Yeah, it's quite emotional, isn't it?
I've been over the toilet thinking, this is how I go. Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Okay.
Do you know when you're being really sick and you're like, this is it?
Yes. But I think the lowest point of it is when I had to try and take photos of the toilet, and he asked me to send them to his email address. I'm hoping that's because he wants to help us out in finding a seat, but if not, I don't really want to think about it.
All right.
But other than that, everything's tickety-boo.
And his email address is boghub at toiletseats.com.au.
.com. Yeah, that's the one.
Do you want to know something that happened to me this week?
What happened to you?
I got a new car.
Another new car?
Yeah, another new car, except this one is like, I can't remember what scale, is it like 1/16 or something?
All right, okay.
And it's a model of my old car.
It is. It doesn't look much like your old car.
No, it's a lot smaller.
It doesn't look like I remember it anyway.
Because you saw it, but big dent in the front.
Yeah, there wasn't much left of it
There's
when
a
I
big
saw it. Yeah,
flat tire on the left.
that's very nice.
The body was torn
Yes,
against the
Very traumatic.
Nissan Navara
yeah.
in front. The thing is, though, this model is the driver's seat's on the left-hand side, and it's an Opel, not a Vauxhall.
So it's nothing like your car. You might as well just.
Well, no,
got
they're the
anything.
same brand, but
Not really.
no, they're not.
Bit
though, are they?
disappointing that really. I bet when that came through.
If
the
I'm
post.
honest, it was sold on Amazon as a Vauxhall Corsa, and if I did look closely at the pictures, then it did show that it was actually an Opel badge and a...
Oh, you
But
only
you
got
know
yourself
what?
to blame then, yeah.
I'm not too displeased.
Okay.
Because it still looks a lot like my car,
Good for you.
apart from the badge. I just need to paint the alloys black and paint the wing mirrors black.
Wow. Yeah.
That's how deep I'm going into this rabbit hole
You
of
seem to be
making a car that I don't own immortalised within a smaller car.
Yeah. Nice.
I've also got the old car keys of the old car.
I'll see if they work.
They won't.
No.
What, on this?
Yeah.
It's unlocked already.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry
Plus, you
about
need
that then.
smaller car keys.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, they're inside.
What are
Do
we
you want me to take
actually
them out in the
doing
ignition?
before we go on
right.
forever talking about a toy car that you got?
So, this week,
Yes.
we were struggling with what to do,
Yeah.
in all seriousness. And but there's been something that you've mentioned from quite early on,
Yes.
was the fact that you at some point wanted to talk about London.
Well, I just thought it's a capital city of England where we live, and I think it's quite a remarkable place. I love cities anyway, but I think it's quite a remarkable place. I thought we could talk a little bit about it and the people that live there.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, why did you want to talk about London?
Well, funny enough, it's because I think I love cities, and I think if you go to places like London, you've got so much history there alongside very modern places and sort of new businesses and new enterprises and everything else. So I find that sort of
There's a lot of history there.
juxtaposition fascinating. I love the
Did
old
you learn
and
the word
new.
juxtaposition recently?
I did on a podcast that you did.
Did I mention it?
Yeah, you
Did I
did
mention
once. Yeah. So that's why I love London. I mean, obviously, we live fairly near to London as well. My family originate from London, so
You can tell by the way you talk.
yes, you can tell. And we live down the River Thames, or we live very near the River Thames, but you know, we lived as the estuary goes out into the sea. So kind of linked to it.
That's
I
what
used to
estuary
work
means.
up there. What?
That's what estuary means.
I know what estuary means, but I'm just saying.
That's where
But
the river meets the sea.
I was looking. I think we are 41.8 miles from London. That's 67.3 kilometres if you're
Now,
a newbie.
when you're saying London, I assume that's the edge of London.
Kind of the centre of London.
Oh, really? You're measuring it from central
Well,
London?
no, the city of London, so
Because
EC.
It's about 25-ish miles from here to Romford. I guess that makes sense, because from here to Romford
Yeah.
is essentially the edge of London. Because
In the-
Romford's one of those places that you don't know whether it quite falls into Essex or London.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's listening outside the UK, or even Essex,
Well,
won't have a clue what we're talking about.
of course they will. Right, in a car, it'd take you an hour and 26 minutes, apparently.
Which
according
car?
to the AA.
Oh, you're
Not
talking
that
about from
little
here?
car, it'd take you a lot longer.
You're talking about from
Yeah,
here?
from here.
You
on the
pinpoint
train,
our location.
1 hour, 34 minutes. On the bike, 3 hours, 80 minutes. And it'll take you 12 hours to walk there. So we won't be doing that. But I just thought that...
Well, not yet.
I
Not-
know a lot of places around the world and a lot of cities, even within Great Britain, have got are steeped in history. But you know, when I think of London and when I've
Edinburgh,
been up there,
for
and I've
one.
looked at, yes, there's been sort of
great city.
invasions, war, fires, disease, all sorts of things happened to it.
And that was just last
People
weekend.
prevailed, yeah. That was all last week. But I thought, I look back and there seemed to be a few half-bummed efforts to get to England or get to Britain and trying to take it over. The Romans come and had a little bit of a recce at one point.
They did do pretty well, to be fair.
Well, they did, but they came over and had a recce, and they in 43 AD they came back, but they came back this time with elephants. I don't know what the relevance of elephants is,
Nice.
but apparently because they came back with elephants, it seemed to work, and they
you
seemed
ever
to be able
seen
to
Star
take
Wars?
over. No, what are you talking about?
Banthas, they're elephants. Also,
Right,
and
they're
the
not
original ones-
anymore.
and elephants, they helped with
In the imaginary world of Middle Earth, yeah? Is that what you're going to say?
Is it imaginary world, or is it just the world before we knew it?
No, it's an imaginary world.
Right. But they helped.
Anyway, we're not talking. So London. So they created this small. In fact, where they created the Romans, the first sort of encampment there, it was really quite near to where the city of London is now. So quite what we'd see as the financial centre of London as well. So they set up a
Well,
small
Roman
town.
banks.
But, yeah. What?
Roman stock exchange, you know, that kind of stuff.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, they liked money in Rome.
Oh, right. But 60 AD all went a little bit pear-shaped for them because Boadicea, as I learnt her name,
Boudica.
when I was now called Boudica.
No, not now called.
No, she wasn't called Boudica when I went to school.
No. What you're saying now called.
Everybody refers to her now as Boudica.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. I get what you're saying, but you're saying now called Boudica isn't so much because essentially both are right, yet both are wrong. And you say now called Boudica, she was previously called Boudica, but people started calling her Boudicea. It could be that way. Do you know what I mean? Boudicea.
Well, it could be, but we learnt her name as Boadicea for years and years and years, and it's only in recent years people called her Boudica. Utterly ridiculous.
No, but
anyway,
you can't
she
say
came
she
along,
changed it.
burnt it, came along, give them a kick in, burnt it to the ground. But did they give up, the Romans? No, they didn't. They rebuilt it. The New Londinium, as they called it. Very. They could have thought of a better name than that. They just used
Isn't
London.
That an element?
The capital of Britannia. But in 409, they buggered off back to Italy because I didn't know why they left, but they left.
It was quite a long time, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were there for about 400 years, something like that. Anyway, they went back to Italy. Because apparently people were causing a bit of trouble back in Italy, so they had to get back there and sort them out so the Roman Empire didn't fall in Italy, where obviously it had been a bit embarrassing on their own turf. But they left a lot of legacy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we say. It's a very famous quote from Monty Python, is it? What the Romans done for us? And they say, well, they brought this. What have they ever done for us? And it's like roads and everything, yeah.
Also... Sorry, I didn't expect you to actually stop talking so quickly there.
Yeah.
But also, I've forgotten.
Oh my God! Don't interrupt me if you haven't got anything to say.
No,
anyway,
I did have something to say.
So you go through all sort of the medieval times. You got the and I think my point being is the fact that it's been hit so many times with so many things. So in 1603, plague strikes London, right? Or what they called.
Oh, we moved away from Romans now.
Oh yeah, because they've gone, haven't they?
Because I was thinking of the Roman thing. I can't remember what it was.
Apparently, plague strikes London in 1603, or they called it a new plague. In 1633, plague strikes again. I believe they called that the plague strikes back. And then there was a brief respite where I presume, like we have with COVID, they just opened Hyde Park, which was great because people could get their hour exercise away from the plague and socially distanced walks and all things like that.
Yeah, masks.
But unfortunately, in 1665, the plague comes back for the last time, or as they called it, the return of the plague. So people were decimated by these
many years
things.
later, we had the Plague Awakens, didn't we?
We did, yeah, and it started all over again. Well, I'll come to that. Then in 1666, you had the Great Fire over London that destroys 13,200 houses, killing how many people, do you reckon?
12.
No.
A lot?
No. According to records, only 6 people died, right?
Was that the Great Fire London?
Yep. But I feel they only registered 6 people dying. I think probably a lot more people went under the radar and died. But apparently there's only 6 people.
You'd expect it to be at least 13 since it started in a bakery.
A baker's dozen?
Yep.
My God.
You're welcome.
1703, Buckingham Palace is built. Lovely jubbly, like Buckingham Palace.
What year?
Been there, 1703.
It's been around for a while, hasn't it?
It has, 1711.
Has it had extensions?
Oh, it's had many bits put to it. I think
so is
most
it
of these places were fairly basic.
Is it a bit like Trigger's broom?
What?
Oh, yeah,
it's had, yeah. No, I think there's certain elements of it that are the original bits, so it's not like Trigger's broom from that perspective.
To explain the reference, Trigger's broom, Only Fools and Horses reference. Got a new broom head, got a new broomstick. Is it the same broom?
Well, there you go. Gets an award for it. 1711, Christopher Wren, who designed St Paul's Cathedral completed that. Oh, there's an interesting fact about Christopher Wren and St Paul's Cathedral coming up in the quiz at the end.
Do you want to tell me it now?
No. 1757. Houses on London Bridge are demolished. Now that's always
Seems silly to have houses on London Bridge, doesn't it?
But it's always fascinated me when you look back at pictures of that time or descriptions of that time, and they almost had sort of a whole little towns almost all along those particular bridges, and you know they'd have the fair,
the ice fair,
the ice fair when the Thames sort of. Just
freeze over. Sorry, just freeze that
sentence.
sentence.
Yeah, freezes over. Yeah, and that sort of thing. Quickly, can I just sort of say, we said about the plague. Well, here comes cholera, and that strikes London in 1831. Again in 1866.
What was that one called?
It was just cholera. That's the disease, cholera.
Not the last plague.
No, I didn't do that for that. Strikes again, but. What's quite evident then in 1866 is public health is so much better. So it doesn't have the impact it did originally.
Yeah. Wasn't this around when Sue was alive now?
Oh, she ain't going to thank you for that, is she? So, but then, you know, you go through some of the other bits and pieces and perhaps, you know, we can cover that off in the second part. Ancient Egypt. In last week's podcast, there were so many potential fact-check candidates that to save time, I would like to submit it in its entirety. Apologise wholeheartedly and move on.
Fact check.
Right.
So
1940 to 41.
1940?
Yeah.
Oh, this is like Nanny Joyce being alive now.
That's not the entirety of World War II. Obviously, it was 39 to 45. But there's a lot of people killed, you know, talking about 20,000 people in London, keeping it light.
Yep.
With the bombing from Germany. I hear a lot of stories about this, and I guess one of the things that I like about, as much as that's the tragedy involved in all that, is we talked at the beginning, I said about the spirit of people in there and the sense of humour, even if it be a dark sense of humour people had there. And your nan, my mum, lived through that. She was
the nan of Father and Sundays.
Yeah, she was evacuated in I think 1940. Into the country, like many children were. Came back a year later. Went down there with her brother George. Came back a year later. But you know, she talks about things, and so did my dad. She was from Stepney. My dad was posh. She was from Barking, and they talk about things. They talk about uncovering. You know, my dad talks about a bomb landing in the garden and opening the back doors and all this sort of misty gas was coming, and they had to quickly shut all of. I mean, I can't even comprehend what it must
and
be
you said
like.
He died of lung issues.
Yes, but that was nothing to do with that. No, that was nothing to do with that. So you know, but the spirit. They talk about the Blitz spirit, you know, and they talk about people singing and sort of pretty much. Sort of sticking two fingers up, you know, the people that were trying to.
You need to finish that sentence. Up at people.
Up at people, you know.
Don't send it on up.
And it undoubtedly changed a lot of people, and lots of London is, you know, there was parts of London that were bombed that stayed like that, and you could still see them in. But that's less and less now, like that. Lots of replacement, and people were. But the spirit, there's so much now. There's so many communities within London. There's so many from so many countries. There's a real diversity, multicultural, and it's this sort of old and new that live side by side now, which I said at the beginning I love so much. I mean, you've got.
Well, it's funny. But you go down the C2C line, into London. and you'll be going, and there'll be a flat, there'll be something, and then there'll be a church just stuck in between these two huge
and the
buildings.
distance between. I mean, even from
And
our
it's like minuscule distance, isn't it?
Yeah, and from our point of view, coming in there, you no sooner you're in the city of London, and you've got the skyscrapers and the new buildings, but right sitting in the middle of it, alongside the Thames, is the Tower of London and Tower Bridge, and then you don't go far. I mean, even around that area, you've still got parts of the London Wall, like that was around the city, that are still there, that are still being uncovered. And we talked about the Romans earlier on, and there's one particular area, and I believe we ran through it when we were doing a race up there that time, and they've got it marked out where the amphitheatre was for the Romans, and that's because they uncovered that. And I find all that really fascinating, the old and new, the history as you walk around the city. There's something really exciting about it. Obviously, we've had the Millennium, and there was a lot of things. The London Eye now is there, and obviously the Millennium Dome, which is now the O2.
If you want to hear more about the Millennium, listen to our 2000s episodes.
yes, where we just talk about how everybody was worried about what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And obviously we had the London Olympics in 2012.
If you want to hear more about the Olympics, listen to our Olympics and Paralympics episode.
But, it just makes me feel really proud. And I know, within this country, London was always seen, it's always been the capital city, or has been for many years, and was very much the biggest place, the centre of everything. That's not the same now.
It's not.
There's many cities around the United Kingdom that are equally as large, and it's got lots of manufacturing and lots of stuff goes there. In fact, there's less and less within London.
Do you think London will always be the capital city?
I think it will always be the capital city, but I don't think it stands for the same things as it has done throughout the years. It's changing all the time.
What makes a city the capital city?
I don't know. It's just it originates, I guess, as the hub of that particular country. If it's not necessarily the biggest. It's not even necessarily the most famous. Sometimes when you look around,
Europe the capital city of Australia.
Exactly.
I would argue the most famous city in Australia is Sydney.
Is Sydney, but that isn't the capital. Yeah, and that's exactly my point. That happens quite a lot. But it's perhaps where the government were originally. Obviously we have places within Scotland and in Wales because of a certain amount of devolution, but Westminster Abbey is still where our Parliament is, and so I guess
Edinburgh
a lot of
the
that,
capital of Scotland.
Yes.
And then Cardiff is the capital of Wales.
That's
and
exactly.
Dublin.
So you've got Belfast and Dublin if you're talking about Ireland. And
so Dublin's Northern Ireland, isn't it?
So yes, there's a few laws as well. There's some weird and wonderful things that happen within London that still are the same. Whether they're enforced or not, they are still the same. So, do you know you're not allowed to feed the pigeons in Trafalgar Square? I only found that out a little while ago. Now, when I was young,
if they find out about how you fed all those pigeons in Trafalgar
Square,
I
was younger, I used to go up. Well, when we were up in London, that used to be a big thing. You used to go and buy a little pot of seed, and then you'd stand there, and you'd be it's a bit unnerving, really. But you'd have loads and loads of pigeons all over you.
And Trafalgar Square pretty much a roundabout.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it's not even a square.
Well, it's got 4 posts on it, hasn't it? And that's the
square
with
the
lions.
They're not square though, are they?
Ah, shut up.
They're almost in a line.
Did you know there's still a law saying there's absolutely
I know what you're talking about.
Reckless sliding on ice or irritating kite flying?
What is deemed as irritating kite flying? Would it be kite flying in general? Or?
I would say any kids flying kites, because you stand there when you're an adult and you take ages.
You're an expert at flying
kites. You do
kites.
it all. You fly the kite. It's up there. You hand it to your child, and no sooner if you hand it to your child than they pull it a couple of times and it goes to the floor, possibly breaks.
Kite flying is scary, isn't it?
tangles up all the string and that. So that's probably what irritating kite flying is.
Kite flying is scary, isn't it? Because you feel like if you it feels like they're very nearly able to just let go and your kite flies off.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a great thing to do when it really works.
Do you remember the aeroplane one I used to have?
Yeah, I think
the propellers used to go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Another thing, so you can't do any
you can't slide
sliding on ice. Yeah. So another thing, no suspicious salmon handling.
Yes, I mean
now I don't know what the
I'm
difference
suspicious
between
of anyone handling a salmon.
Yeah, but I don't know whether you can handle a salmon non-suspiciously.
Do you know why that is?
Why?
It's because people used to smuggle contraband inside a salmon.
Do you think that was it? I thought it was just probably illegal salmon.
No, it's just contraband used to be smuggled inside the salmon. I made that up, by the way.
Oh, right. Well, thanks again
That's
for
all right.
your input. You're not allowed to gamble, sing, or queue jump on the tube.
Right, actually, no. That's I've seen, because I've seen people perform on the tube.
Yeah.
And then they'd be asked to be removed. Now, in fairness, I think that's just to stop people busking quite literally on the tube, and it still is in force, stuff like that. Gambling, it's illegal pretty much anywhere that isn't designated to gamble.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Singing, queue jumping.
Queue jumping.
Stretching?
I don't know.
I think you're allowed to stretch on the...
Depends how wide.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Man stretching and whatever it's... What's it called?
I don't know what you're talking about again.
What's the one where you have your legs really wide? Man spacing, no. Anyway, queue jumping is also irritating.
It is, yeah. But I didn't think it... Yeah, well, I suppose it is illegal as such. But yeah, the singing made me laugh because I thought lots of people sing, don't they? Anyway, the other thing that fascinates me about London is, and especially because...
You seem to have a list of things that fascinate you about London.
I told you I love London. I love it. I love the buzz of the place.
I struggle.
Everything. Why?
Because I struggle with big, lots of people situations, and cities I struggle with. I don't think I could live in a city. I mean, do you feel like you could live in London?
I wouldn't want to live in London. I'd much prefer to travel in and experience London and then come back to my little corner of the country.
This is my point, is the fact that I like visiting London. Now, I do struggle to visit London because I struggle with all the people there. I feel like I'd do better in London if I was on my own sometimes, because sometimes when I travel with other people, it makes having to think about what they're doing and where they are and stuff like that a bit harder. But there's so many people there that I just end up feeling a bit anxious with the amount of people.
Oh, wow. Right, okay.
And that's why I struggle with
Are you all right
cities.
on this podcast? Are you not feeling anxious?
Well, we don't have many people listen, so we should be all right.
talking about just talking about London. Does it feel like am I painting such a vivid picture of London that you're starting to feel anxious because you feel like you're there?
No, absolutely not. The picture hasn't been painted at all.
Okay, thanks.
That's
right,
all
one of the things, again, like I said, that fascinates me is like my mum comes from Stepney, and you know that's not when you start talking about Cockneys and within the the sound of bow bells and that, the language that sort of has evolved. You've gone from it being, I've looked at some of the very old sort of rhyming slang that has been used to, obviously it's been updated and people use different, and you spoke about something like Only Fools and Horses, and obviously that was used quite a lot in there. It's that sort of banter, that sort of thing. But what really fascinates me is when you use something like this and there's a sort of truncation in it. There's a sort of a separation of things. So I've got some examples, right? And as I say, it's only because it fascinates me. So when you say about, me old China, me old China, and you're talking about like a friend of yours, it's me old China. So obviously that's China plate, mate, right? But you don't say China plate. You never say China plate. You just say China. So, straight away you've separated that one out, one more out of that. It's the same thing with...
Can I guess the next one?
Okay. Let me take a butcher's.
Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Butcher's hook.
Butcher's hook. Yeah, exactly. Telling porkies.
Telling pork pies lies.
Yeah, exactly. But no, don't you think? I think that's brilliant. I love it. You know, and all right, wearing a syrup.
Wearing a syrup, maple syrup. Maple.
This is a slightly different one because it's not necessarily something you would have used or you would particularly think of. So the actual thing is syrup and fig.
Syrup and fig. And what's the term again?
Wearing a syrup. So
Syrup
if I
and
say,
fig.
look at that bloke over there, he's got a syrup on.
Syrup and fig. Wig.
Yes, wig. Yeah, so again, removed from that particular one. Couple more. Me old treacle.
Treacle tart fart.
Why, so can you say me old fart? So me old treacle tart, sweetheart.
All right, sweetheart.
But again, I've heard these sayings used so often, and yet, you know, when you start thinking them through, use your loaf.
Loaf of bread, head.
Yes, brilliant. So look, there's those ones, and then I've kind of thought, well, we could make our own ones up anyway. So what about something like, have you got a Jimmy Cranky?
Jimmy Cranky.
Me nose is running. Have you got a Jimmy Cranky?
A hanky.
Yes.
So you got a Jimmy.
Oh, I tell you what, West Ham are playing Kidderminster tomorrow.
Do you want to give that another go, by the way?
West Ham are playing Kidderminster tomorrow. I fancy doing a bit of a Boba Fett.
Boba Fett bet.
Yep.
A boba.
Yeah. I'll see what sort of. I'll see what they can do for me. I'll see what I can get. I might be able to even get a really good Ian Bill.
Ian Bill deal.
Yes, absolutely.
A really good Ian.
But when I drive down there to the betting shop, right, I'm gonna be careful where I park because the last.
Can you
thing
just say the
do,
one word? Do separate it up. Just say one word, and I'll try and see if I can get the next one.
Oh, well, you're going to struggle with this one.
All right.
When I park up, I'll have to make sure I'm not on double yellow lines because I don't want to see an old one of those old Jameses.
James Bond, street warden.
Well, you're nearly there.
Street. Is it a parking traffic warden? Traffic warden. James Corden, traffic warden.
James Corden, traffic warden. And but you know what they're like though. I could be parked like legally, and they'll still slap a.
Can you do more of a Cockney accent, please?
Oh, I could be parked legally, and they just come along and they'll say, "You ain't parked legally. You parked on double yellows because they're Danny Dyers."
It's just that full one you've provided. Danny, full Danny Dyer.
Yeah, Danny
liar.
Dyer, liar. Oh dear. But anyway, once that's all done, I might be quite tired, so I'm thinking maybe I'll pop home to me turtle.
Turtle, Ninja Turtle.
No.
Turtle. Sea turtle. Pond turtle.
No. What? It's got to be after turtle, isn't it? If I'm saying.
Oh
that
yeah,
first.
turtle.
I'm really
turtle tank.
Really tired. I'm gonna hit the turtle.
The turtle. Turtle. Hit the bed. Turtle shed. Turtle shell. Hit the girl.
Turtle head. Bed.
Turtle head. Because the turtles are the only thing with heads.
Eh?
What? Eh?
I can hear something. I can hear someone walking outside. I can hear them. They're walking down the old sausage. Sausage roll hole. No, they're walking down. Outside down the old sausage.
Sausage.
Right in the middle of the old sausage.
Sausage Toad Road.
Yep. But I can't understand what they're saying because they're talking a different sausage.
Sausage roll. Sausage Toad mode.
No, they're talking. They're talking. They're not talking English. They're talking a different sausage.
Oh, sausage sandwich language.
Yeah. In fact, the only thing I understood that they said was that they were going to pop up to the shop because he fancied a bit of chocolate and he really wanted a Boris.
Boris Johnson. He really wants to Boris.
He fancied some chocolate, and one of his favourite chocolate bars he wanted to get, so he thought he'd get himself one of those Borises.
Boris. It's not Boris Johnson, then?
No.
I can't think of any other Boris.
Tennis player.
Boris. Borat. Boris.
What?
Boris Gump. Who?
Tennis player.
Murray.
Are you telling me you don't know who Boris Becker is?
Yeah, I don't know who Boris Becker is.
My God. Well, he was going to nip to the shop and get a Boris Becker.
Double decker.
Yep. And that's the end of my little ones that I've made up.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot, actually.
Yes, there you go.
And now a word from this week's sponsor.
Stroke song.
It could also be a song. We have not decided yet. Anyway, listen to this advert stroke song.
Whilst walking down the Frog and Toad just the other day, I spied a guy with my mince pies. I believe his name was Ray. His daisy roots were the brightest red, and his Dicky Dirt was blue. His boat race showed no emotion. I didn't know what to do. And the bow bells are ringing, so I just feel like singing. So it's down the rubber dub for some lager and some grub. I felt Pat and Mick, and Ray was Brahms and Liszt. He sold his round the houses after sipping on some high-class fizz. As I left the battle cruiser with my newfound china plate, I held a sherbet dab, but we were really in a 2 and 8. So the bow bells are ringing, Ray just got the luggers in. Let's have a kick and prance, as I rarely ever get the chance. And the bow bells are ringing, so I just feel like singing. So it's down the rubber dub for some lager and some grub.
Game time.
Woohoo!
Okay, so,
Okay.
right, got a little quiz for you.
I never
Or
expected that.
what should I say? I've got a bucks for you.
A Bucks Fizz quiz.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep,
Amazing.
I've got Bucks Fizz
Genuinely
quiz.
enjoyed those.
This is all about London. I'll tell you what.
I didn't expect that to be about London.
Why don't you play the sting?
I'll play the sting.
It's a quiz about London. How will you fare? Go ahead, have a guess if you don't know. To be honest, I don't care.
Stand clear of the doors, please.
I like that sting. That was a nice sting.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Anyway, let's
Pay
go
me
for
to.
this then. Question 1 of this week's quiz.
How many questions?
10.
Nice.
Actually 10 this time. What must you refrain from doing to the pelicans in St James's Park without written permission? I
Sorry.
presume
it's
that's
multiple choice. Yeah.
Yeah. What must you refrain from doing to the pelicans in St James's Park without written permission? I'm not sure if that's written permission from the pelicans,
Yeah,
or
I was
whether
gonna
it's
ask
from
that.
someone else. Can you only do this if you've got written permission? Touch them. B, feed them. C, ride them.
Now, there is a good chance that these pelicans are actually just one of those paddle boat things.
Oh, they're not. They're
Oh,
real.
right, okay. 'Cause in which case, the ride them would actually potentially work if you hadn't have given that away. I'm going to go with Well, one, I feel like you'd have to have permission to touch them anyway. So that one, I feel like would be true. Even if it wasn't the one that you've got, it's still a good chance that could be true. But I'm going to go with feed them. Because it's more common that people actually do it.
Ah, well, actually, you have to have a letter from the Secretary of State to touch them.
Oh.
You're not supposed to feed them, but people do. But to actually touch them, you have to have written permission. Okay.
Like vet.
Question 2, and just for anybody wondering what that funny little clicking sound is, that's Connor, who's been playing with his toy car while recording for some time now.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun. I haven't had one for a very long time.
In Cockney rhyming slang, what does Turkish bath mean?
Turkish bath. Oh,
Does
you're going to
it
give me
mean
options.
A, giraffe, B, path, or C, laugh?
Giraffe is... No, it wouldn't be giraffe, but I feel like people use... You're having a giraffe, they say laugh.
That is true.
Um,
That's an example of how things have changed going forward, because obviously giraffes weren't invented back when they first had.
yeah, we
Cockney
discussed that
rhyme
on a previous
slang,
episode,
yeah.
didn't we? What was the one in the middle, sorry?
It was giraffe, path, or laugh. Turkish bath.
Can you use it in a sentence, please?
No, because that would give it away.
You're having a Turkish bath. You're having a Turkish. Let's go have a walk along the Turkish. I feel like path.
That is incorrect.
Is it bath?
It's
Laugh.
You're having a Turkish bath, laugh.
I just thought maybe giraffe was...
Question 3. What was Sir Christopher Wren obsessed with when designing St Paul's Cathedral and nearly resulted in the Great Dome being A, pineapple, B, boobies, C,
I sang a song about that before the podcast.
coconut? So Christopher Wren was obsessed with something while he was designing St Paul's Cathedral, and it nearly resulted in the Great Dome being in the shape of A, a pineapple, B, boobies, or C, a coconut.
You laughed. You actually laughed more at coconut than I thought you would. But is that because you just said the word boobies?
Yeah, I was still laughing about boobies, yeah.
Right. So I would say boobies is there because it's your funny option.
Or is it?
Yeah. Because the other two are very similar in what they could be, pineapples and coconut.
Yeah.
So you've gone for basically a fruit for the other two. Because coconut's a fruit. I believe it is
A
anyway.
nut.
No, it's not.
Go on, anyway, go on.
So I'm going to go with pineapple.
That is correct. And actually, he didn't do it in the end, but if you
Did he
look
not?
at other parts of the St Paul's Cathedral, the smaller little domes or little bits and pieces on top, they're often pineapples.
And he was obsessed with them at the time.
He was obsessed with pineapples, yeah.
Any reason why he was
Everybody was
obsessed?
obsessed with pineapples. I think they were just new fruit on the block, and
Yeah.
which is a boy band of that time. And they just...
At what time?
of that time. Question 4. In 1681, London was terrorised by a man who walked the streets at night, or in the dark, looking for unaccompanied women. If he saw one, he would run up behind them, lift their dress, slap their bottom and yell, "Spanko!" But what was his nickname?
Is this true?
Yeah. What was the nickname he was
No
given?
way, that's true.
It is true. He saw one, he'd run up behind them, lift their dress, slap their bottom and yell, "Spanko!"
See, that is a terrible thing to do.
It is a terrible thing.
It's an absolutely awful thing to do, but I honestly thought you were going to say that he was going and murdering them, and it's
No.
better than murdering them.
It is.
Oh
So what was his nickname?
my goodness.
That
That's a
man.
horrendous
Was his
thing to
nickname
do.
A, Slapping Simon? Was it B, Buttock Billy?
You enjoyed this one, didn't you?
Or was it C, Whipping Tom?
Buttock Billy is too funny. Was it Slapping Simon?
Yep.
And what was the other one? Something Tom?
Whipping Tom.
Whipping Tom. It's Whipping Tom.
It is Whipping Tom.
Yeah, it's not funny enough.
No. Apparently,
They weren't funny back then.
that was way back. I think I said when it was, but I can't remember now. It's on a
Probably
different
should make
page.
jokes out of it.
No, but there was a copycat person who did it more recent times. But the way it was, when I read it, the way it was put, it was sort of funny, but it wasn't. It's not funny, but the way they put it did make me laugh. Anyway, question 5, Cockney rhyming slang again. What is meant by give and take? Is it lake? A, that is.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Is it B, pasta bake? Or is it C, cake?
I feel like pasta bake in our household, that would be. Now, give and take, I think give and take, cake actually fits in with that phrase. You've got to give and you've got to take. You can't have your cake and eat it. It's cake.
Wow. Well done for dissecting. That's absolutely true. And that is why it is like it is. Okay.
What?
Which is not really English.
This is what it is. What
Question
it is.
6.
Like it is.
Why did time go back by 5 minutes at the clock tower of Westminster in 1945? Was it because it snowed so heavily the hands couldn't move until cleared? Was it because a flock of birds landing on the minute hand all at once made it stop? Or was it C, while cleaning the clock face, a man slipped and held on to one of the hands until rescued?
Oh, that's actually a tricky one. You kind of gave me a look with your eyebrows like, yeah there's no stupid answer in this one.
Well, they're all fairly stupid, but yes.
Yeah, they're all equally stupid. Like, even the man falling sounds like it's relatively meant to be funny, but it's also could genuinely be true. It's not like one of these things where you've just made up something that completely... So it's birds, snow, or man.
Yes.
Oh, pardon me, sorry. I had a hiccup
lovely.
and then it followed directly by a burp then.
Nice.
That's for everyone to listen to.
Yeah. Well, at least they couldn't hear you clicking your car doors.
Don't click, listen.
I heard that then.
Yeah,
So-
but that's only because you're listening.
I've been listening all the way through. Oh, it's all I could hear at the moment. Will you get on with this quiz?
Right. Bird, snow, man.
Yeah.
Or a snowman covered in birds. I'm going to go for the snow.
Wrong. It was a flock of birds, and I think they were starlings, all landed on the minute hand at once, and
My
it made
second
it.
option was going to be man. So
Well, you haven't got a
starlings,
second option.
Birds would have been my last one.
Question 7. There is a time capsule beneath Cleopatra's Needle in London. A little while back to the ancient Egyptians last week. But which of these is in it, in the time capsule? A, cigars. B, pornographic images. C, a life-size model of Queen Victoria.
Pornographic images.
Wrong, cigars.
Oh,
Right, but...
that was one of the pornographic images.
Right, what they listed some of the things in there. So cigars, children's toys, a portrait of Queen Victoria, coins, Bibles in different languages. This all sounds relatively, it shows of a time. And
Bet
then
the Quran wasn't in there, though.
photos of women considered to be beautiful at that time.
In fairness, someone could consider a woman beautiful now, but she wouldn't be considered beautiful years ago.
No, I'm not.
But that is very. Is it derogatory?
Well,
Is that the word I'm looking
the
for?
thing is,
Misogynistic.
photos of women considered to be beauty at the time. I understand they're considered to be beautiful at the time in the way they've said that. But why on earth, in a time capsule, have they put pictures of people or women? That just seems.
It's like in
bizarre
years to come,
me.
they'll open it up and go,
Oh,
"Oh, she's a bit dodgy looking," but they thought she was beautiful at the time. Or they'll go,
I'm sure they all looked beautiful then and do so now. I distance myself from my son.
"I reckon they don't look as good now because they're all dead."
Question 8. Another London law. After what time are you allowed to shake your rug out of the window? And that's not...
Oh, after what time?
Is it
Okay.
after 6 a.m, after 7 a.m, or after 8 a.m? So at what time are you allowed to shake your rug out of the window? in
8
London?
a.m.
That is correct. It is 8 a.m. Question 9.
Still standing, that law, yeah?
It is still a law, yeah. In the 1700s, instead of paying the 3.5 pence entrance fee to London Zoo, what could you do instead? Could you A, help clean out the poo? Could you B, take your pets to feed the lions and tigers? Or could you C, bring a plant?
Take your pets to feed the lion and tigers is very, very dark. So I don't think so.
So what's it to be then?
Unless it'd be like farm animals,
Poo
bring them.
Or
take a plant.
Take a plant, yeah?
Yeah.
No, you actually could take cats and dogs and get in free if you had them, and then they would be fed to the lions and tigers.
That's horrendous.
It is horrendous. Obviously, it doesn't happen now, but it did happen at that point. But you got to think in those days.
Not being funny, you could just walk down the street of London Zoo and see the giraffes.
Yeah, I know. The thing is that
Don't know if you could at the time, but
even the animals weren't treated particularly well anyway, were they? I mean, so. Okay, your last question here.
Wow.
Question 10. What was sold in Harrods of London up until 1916?
Zebras.
Was it A, cocaine, B, alligators, or C, children?
A, cocaine.
That is correct. And the reason I thought you might go for alligators then, but well past 1916 they sold wild animals.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, I think, 70s was the last
You
time.
just used to be able to ask, can I have a zebra? And they'd source you one.
Yeah, unbelievable. So that's the end of my little quiz. Hope you enjoyed it.
If someone offered to sell you a zebra, and
Yes.
imagine you had land,
Yeah.
would you buy it?
I would.
I feel like
It
zebra's
depends.
more of the animal that would be more acceptable.
Yes, but
Because
I
people
think
do have zebras.
they do. But zebras are pack animals, herd animals, I should say. So,
What if they offered you 6?
and they're not as easy to look after, I understand, within the zoo environment as you think they're going to be. You think they're horses, so they're going to be fine, but they're
more
not. There's
donkey,
a lot of-
really, isn't it?
But I think if I had loads of land and I was perhaps a go-between between someone who was something was going to happen to that animal if I didn't take them on, I would then seek advice, house them, and then get people that were more equipped to look after an animal of that sort.
And then teach it how to run and then recreate the film Racing Stripes.
I don't know that film.
Oh, basically it's about a zebra that loves being a racehorse.
Okay, thanks for.
But I just
I'll
think
look that up
having
on
a zebra as a pet would be better than some other animals you could have. Like,
Well-
for example, if you wanted a wild animal and someone went, "There's a zebra here," I'd be more likely to take the zebra than a tiger.
Okay. Well, I can't say I've really thought about it.
As a child, I always wanted a baby elephant,
I know you did, yeah.
but
that would have been.
I thought I
really
could
a
keep it in my
nightmare.
room. And it wasn't until later in life that you go, no, you couldn't keep it in your room because I realised eventually it would grow.
A baby elephant wouldn't be able to. Well, maybe this room, but not your old room when you would have talked about it anyway. So there we go.
Well, it would have been able to get in there, just not get out again, maybe. Or turn
Very
around.
true.
Oh, ding.
Ding. Time's up.
But yeah.
Okay. Anything else we need to cover then?
Well, actually, there is. So, have you ever been on our website, Dad?
Yes.
Well, on our website, I don't know if you've seen, but there's a contact page.
I've just said I've been on it.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Have you seen the contact page?
Yes, I have seen the contact page.
Well, it
But I
turns
don't
out-
actually look at it that often.
It turns out so is our friend Al.
Oh, good God. Okay, what's Al got to share with us now then?
So subject is miss me with a question mark.
Oh.
Now, I don't know how long ago we last had a message from Al, but obviously he did appear. He sent us a message on our episode, our 50th episode, didn't he?
Right. Okay.
And he's Belgian. We already knew that.
Yeah.
He's a Belgian rockhopper penguin.
Yeah.
Would you like me to try and read it in his accent?
I don't know. Do you think you can, or do you think this is going to be like car crash?
Hi, father and son. It's Al here. Do you want me to carry on or just go back to normal?
Yeah, as long as you get through it.
Oh, okay. It's Al here. Apologies, I've been away visiting my Aunt Artica.
Oh, man.
So I have been
What with these puns?
so I've been catching up on the podcast. I'm going to do it normally now. After listening to the espionage episode, I felt inspired to write my own spy story. It's named The Penguin Pies. Spies. It's like you knew the episode. It's named The Penguin Pies.
Penguin pies?
Yeah, it's about being a spy story.
Oh, right.
Penguin
okay.
Pies, Spies. It's like he knew we were doing London. Actually, I think we might have communicated that with him. I don't know. Anyway, there was once a penguin farmer. His name, Pond. James Pond. He loved his sheep, but decided he wanted a pig. So he rounded up 4 sheep and took them to the market.
Hang on. A penguin farmer, it sounds like what he
sounds
farms
like
penguins, and then he went on to say,
I think he is a penguin. He's
Oh,
a farmer
right,
who is a
okay.
penguin. I get the sounding that it sounds like he farms penguins, but no.
But then
Al,
immediately goes
this
on
would
to
be
talk
weird if
about-
Al sent us a story about someone farming penguins because he is a penguin.
okay.
Anyway, so he ran up his full sheet, went to market. With the money, he bought a pig and planned to put it in a pie. That Saturday, he cooked up a storm and ended it up using the pig to bake as many as 4 pork pies. There was a crash. Bang. Scallop, as in the seafood, at the window. Scallop. There was a scallop at the window.
Wallop.
He's written scallop.
Oh, right, okay. Perhaps autocorrect. It might be
dunno.
that it's an actual pun or joke, or it might be that autocorrect put
It could well
scallop.
be a pun. I don't know. Something seemed to be fishy. Yeah, it's almost definitely a pun, isn't it?
God.
Something seemed to be fishy, so James Pond went to investigate. He spent hours looking for a culprit, but in the end, didn't have any clue what caused the commotion. All worn out. Sorry,
Which
just
is how
the
I'm feeling at
silence.
the moment.
All worn out, Pond, James Pond,
Yep.
returned to his kitchen, ready for a slice of pie. To his horror, someone had already eaten them all. Oh no! Who ate all the pies? Cut a long story short, it was the fat child who was born out of wedlock. Forever listening, Al.
Wow.
No, Al.
Yes, wow, Al. Well, yeah. I'm glad we've inspired you to have a go yourself. I can see references to Austin Powers there, and various other sort of James Bond, obviously, with your James Pond.
I'm going to be honest, normally I proofread these, yeah?
Yeah.
Just to kind of see what we're going to be chatting about. But I read this very late
Yeah.
last night.
Did you sleep afterwards?
And yeah, well, I was quite tired, and I got about halfway through, and I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to just read this on the podcast.
Okay.
Just hope for the best.
Very, very good. Yeah, I hope there's nothing terrible in the end.
I
of
do
it.
actually appreciate, though, a story being written.
I do. I think it's nice.
You can tell a bit of effort's gone into that.
Well, I
a
think
bit of effort.
There is going to be some serialisations of perhaps ongoing
Like Cocoa
adventures,
Pops and-
yeah, that sort of thing. So
That's quick.
we might find they pop up in the next few episodes or podcasts that we do.
Are you saying there might be a return of a character?
There may be return of the character. You never know. Right.
Well, I do, actually. You
Okay,
spoke
yeah, I will
about
be
it.
told to you. Yes. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Thanks, Al, for your correspondence. It's always great to hear from you. Connor's thrown his arms up in the air for some inexplicable reason.
I was just going to say, but you
It's good to see
spoke.
he's
I was
not
going to be
messing around
like,
with his
and
car."
you can do this, but you were speaking, so I just
Okay.
put my arms in the air. So, as I've said, though, Al sent that to us via our website. You can too. Not just you specifically, Dad, but anyone can send
Yeah,
us
they
a
can.
message. And that can be done on fatherandsundays.com, and you can go to the contact page and you can send it there. Alternatively, if you would like to send a message in a different way, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all available. You can follow us on those, but you can also send messages on there, comment on any of our posts. You can also add comments on the website on a particular episode if you did wish to do so.
Okay.
We've also got emails which you can access on the website, such as contact us at fatherandsundays.com. Which would be the best one to actually send us any correspondence if you wish to do so. Although I do appreciate we have mentioned the other email in previous episodes, so if you do use that as well, we'll still see it, likely, potentially. But the website is a great place because you've got all our episodes available there. You can listen to those, but you can also listen to us on any of your chosen platforms, such as Spotify, Apple Music, another one.
And all the others.
Also, we've got a little shop on the website as well. If you go on there, you can get some bits and help support the podcast.
Okay.
But that's it, I think. Is that everything?
It for another week, I think.
Think.
Oh, next week, it's the old Valentine's Day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I've got no date.
Haven't you?
No.
Okay. We've got a week to work on it then.
All right. Do you reckon you'll be able to help?
I'll try. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.
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 Ancient Egypt. In last week's podcast, there were so many potential fact-check candidates that to save time, I would like to submit it in its entirety. Apologise profusely. Right, let's start that again.